Welcome to Return on Intuition, the podcast where strategy meets soul. I'm Erin McMahon, a marketing leader, startup advisor, mom of two, and lifelong seeker of what's real. In a world ruled by data, speed, and artificial intelligence, there is a space where we pause to tune in. Each week, we'll explore what it means to lead, build, parent, and grow, not just with logic, but with intuition. You'll hear from founders, creators, marketers, spiritual guides, and so many more. People aligning ambition with purpose and using their intuition as a real tool for transformation. Because when we pay attention, get present, and trust our instincts, that's when the magic happens. Let's get into it. Welcome to Return on Intuition. Personal story. My son doesn't usually play soccer. He's new to it. He's almost 4, so he's new to a lot of things. Recently this spring, we signed him up for soccer practice with toddlers, which is basically like groups running around near a ball and just a lot of chaos. Well, for him, most practices follow a similar pattern. He shows up, he is on the field for 15 minutes running, but really has no interest in the ball. He takes a water break and then drifts, finds a tree, plays with rocks, doesn't force himself back in. And honestly, I haven't forced him either. But with this last practice, something shifted. He went out at the beginning, he ran around, then he tested the soccer ball, and he stayed out there. And at the water break, he didn't linger back with the parents, as a lot of the kids do, even the kids who were engaged the whole practice. He went right back out there, so much so that his coach said, "Lucas, did you actually sip some water?" And he's like, "Yeah, I did. I'm like a race car." So anyway, at the end of practice, this kid who normally is on the sidelines ran across the field and scored a goal. No one told him to do it. No one cheered him into it. It came from him. And this makes me reflect on instinct versus intuition, especially in parenting, but also in our lives and the different voices that are battling in our heads. When he started soccer and started practice, and of course, as all parents are, doing during these practices, if the kid goes out, it's like, okay, do you want to go back in and do what we're supposed to be doing right now, which is you playing soccer on a field and learning. And the instinct, especially if you've played sports in any capacity, is like, participate, get out there, this is the time, you've got to do it. But obviously for little kids, they are going by their own internal guidance in ways that we can only wish to return to some extent. And he would say, "No, I'm done. 15 minutes. That's enough for me. Don't really have interest in the soccer ball. I'm going to look at this tree over here near the edge of the field and, or look at the rocks and make a pile or give some flowers to dad," or something like that. So part of my brain, the sports trained part of my brain, wanted to really urge him to go back in and, do his thing, or afterwards talk to him about, why didn't you go back to soccer practice, or what was the problem, or, asking questions like that. But I also realized that he was really listening to his instinct and his draw at the time, which is the only thing he knows. So I followed my intuition, the quieter voice that said, let him be. He's learning. He did what he could. He had, the instincts of, or he has the attention capacity that is much smaller. He doesn't know he's necessarily supposed to be in practice for the whole time. And I followed that. And I think as a result of that, his internal spark showed up on its own, and he ran with it. So I am still wondering why this particular moment or why this particular practice had happened. Of course, I'm retracing my steps, trying to control the situation, say, like, was it a snack I gave him, or did he get extra rest the night before, or, what sort of environment did I create for him to do it? But in reality, it was just his internal drive that all of a sudden he said, I like this, I'm connecting with it, I'm going to do it. And he went from, participating in the warm-ups to actually kicking a soccer ball and engaging with the other kids. Some of them are older than him, some of them are a little younger than him, but, it involves more coordination, and it involves going outside of his comfort zone in terms of, learning how to kick the ball, learning how to balance, pass to the extent you can pass as a little kid. But he was ready to go out of his comfort zone. He was ready to stretch himself. And, he did that all on its own. So, reflecting on this, I said, when do I hang back and trust my pace? And when do I feel the urge to go all in? And there are competing voices inside my head when this is happening. And it's usually, honestly, it sort of motivates me to go outside of my comfort zone more often when I encounter what my kids are doing, because they're always going outside of their comfort zone. So many things are new to them, and they are really trusting themselves as to when to do something or not do something. So I think there are moments in life, business, building things, where I've come back and questioned myself for it. And then the moment where something clicks and I move forward, and it's not out of pressure, but it's out of clarity. And sometimes it is when my intuition is speaking and I have held back, and there's been two competing urges. One is to stay within my comfort zone and one is to not. And it is when that urge to do something more becomes so much louder or so much more persistent that I, finally feel like I can step out of my comfort zone. Because our instinct as humans, survival mode, is to stay within our comfort zone. But your intuition, which is usually a quiet, steady voice, and that is important to distinguish, because sometimes there are words of anxiety that says like, oh my God, I really need to do this, that sort of thing. But your quiet, steady voice says, you should try this. You really should do this. And those are the moments where there's a turning point and you decide to, okay, go out of your comfort zone. This is the moment for me to do that. And as you start to do it more, it becomes, first of all, those moments become more comfortable because you have stepped out. The first moments of doing something different are the hardest, but then it becomes easier to try new things and put yourself out there. So intuition, it doesn't feel like a push. It feels like a pull, and it's not urgent, but it's undeniable. And it feels like alignment and not anxiety. Like joy meets readiness. So questions for this audience. What are your moments where you feel like you want to hang on the sidelines, not because you're afraid, but because you're watching, absorbing, getting ready, still percolating on what's going on? And when was the last time you just knew it was time to do something? And how do you know it's the right time for you and not the expected time? So, watching my son reminded me, sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is wait until our own moment comes. No rush, not comparing, just listening. And sometimes our own intuition leads us to the sidelines till we're ready, so that when the right time comes, we can run straight across the field and score in our own way. So that's what Return on Intuition is about: the pause and the leap, the sideline and the goal. Let's keep listening, watching, and let's keep trusting what rises. See you next time. Thanks so much for tuning in to Return on Intuition. If something sparked your curiosity or lit you up, I'd love to hear from you. Share the episode, leave a review, or DM me with what landed. Your feedback helps shape where we go next. And remember, the best decisions don't just come from what you know, they come from what you feel. So take a breath, trust yourself, and keep following the moments that feel like magic. I'll see you next time.